listeners. Welcome back to the Corona podcast as we explore fascinating insights and stories from remarkable individuals. I'm your host, Fedwa, and we have special guest with us, Tarak. Hello, Tarak.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be part of the podcast team. To of course be as a guest here in the podcast. I've seen some videos on YouTube, but I've never thought or had the idea that one day I'll be part of the one of these episodes. So it's great to be part here for this episode, and I'm very excited to talk about various things. So thank you.
Okay, so before we start, I would like to ask you if you can introduce yourself to our audience.
Yep. So my name is Tarak. I am a new educator at the ACO, a new member at the ACO. I started this year a couple months ago. I would say in November I started teaching. I am part of the education department. And so I was fascinated by this opportunity of being part of the ACO because it has a lot of benefits, which of course we can go through. And I am also a university graduate. I earned my master's degree last year. I am a major in applied languages.
Nice.
Similar to applied linguistics, there is a little bit of differences there, but it's pretty much the same, especially.
Great.
There you go. Thank you.
That's really amazing. So before we dive into your fascinating experience, I would like to ask you if you can give us a review about your background and what led you to get involved into volunteering.
Perfect. Okay. So I would say perhaps in 2021, when I started my master's program, I decided that it would be better if I could improve my public speaking skills.
Yeah.
Because I had terrible issues with speaking in public. Even at the university, I had issues sometimes engaging in conversations. I had a lot of issues socializing. So I thought maybe it would be a good way if I could improve that and fix these issues. So I thought of solutions, and one of the solutions that were presented to me is to become a teacher, because a teacher has a superpower in a way, because you can improve your speaking skills, you can manage people, a classroom, you can identify their skills, their weaknesses, you can get certain skills that allow you to understand human emotions and human behavior. So I thought becoming a teacher, it's a vital skill that someone needs to have, especially in the education business, in the education field. So I decided to start teaching. My first experience was teaching kids at a private school called Winter Gates. There you go. Winter Gates. It was very fascinating. It was very fascinating because I was alongside my classmate actually, who was part of the managing team for the board. And my experience at first was teaching kids, and it was a bit difficult because managing kids is very different than teaching adults. In a way that you don't receive the feedback right away, because when you teach kids, it's a bit difficult to understand their emotions. They have this poker face, kids. So you don't know if they receive the information, if they understand. So for a novice teacher, for someone starting, that can raise your anxiety. You can become nervous because you're not sure if you're doing a good job or not. But with adults, even if they keep a poker face, you can understand their emotions a little bit more. Exactly. Which is usually, you think it will be the reverse, right? It will be the different thing because usually kids are more expressive. But for me, I find it very easy to teach adults than kids. So that was my first experience. It was a bit difficult, and I left that experience, that environment, being a little bit anxious because I thought maybe I would not be able to do this after all. But then I thought of the ACO, which is an experience of teaching without repercussions, in a way that it's a volunteering. So volunteering, of course, there is no financial gain. It's a selfless act of serving. So you're not receiving any financial gain, and also you're not being, I would say, judged harshly for your performance. So I thought maybe it would be a good way to, engage in this experience. And, lo and behold, of course, I found it very beneficial, very, it improved a lot of aspects around my personality, and especially in teaching as well. So this is sort of my background up until now. And of course, I have experience now in teaching at other schools. But so far, it's great. It's going good. So
That's great. That's actually really good. I want to ask you, since you told us about volunteering, about how it helped you to develop yourself.
exactly.
In your opinion, what are the key benefits of volunteering and how it can develop your perspective on life and your personal growth in general?
I see. So volunteering is very wonderful. A lot of people have different perspectives concerning volunteering. They think that volunteering it's maybe pointless because you are not gaining anything from it. Maybe, especially if, when it comes to profits, financial gains, they think maybe it's pointless. It's a waste of time, perhaps. However, it's not the case. It's definitely not the case. So volunteering, what is it? So it's an act of serving people, of providing your energy, your resources, your time in order to arrive at certain objectives, to benefit people, to find solutions, to provide help. So all of it is volunteering. So in the case of the ACO, of course, it's a wonderful place where, of course, we have different departments, and each department serves a certain purpose. We have the education department, the BMOP department, etc. So I thought, it would be amazing, of course, to engage in volunteering. And you mentioned something very good. You said, what are the benefits of volunteering for the personal growth and for other reasons as well? So the benefits of volunteering is that in your personality, you will understand certain values, the value of empathy, the value of selflessness. So you're not being selfish. You're thinking of other people. You're thinking of different ways of how you can contribute to a certain situation. So all of these values, they are going to, I would say, raise some certain aspects of your maturity.
Yes.
They will make you mature in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe they will enhance your perspective on things and make you see things from a different perspective. You will not worry too much about yourself, but you will worry much about others and the results. It's similar to teaching as well, because when you are teaching, usually you have this worry that, you're wondering, how do I look? How do I sound?
Yeah.
Am I making mistakes? Am I stuttering? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? However, if you focus on your purpose and what you are trying to achieve, which is you are serving these people, you are allowing them to understand situations, you understand the content that you are providing.
Yeah.
You are helping them, facilitating them the road to success. When you focus on this aspect, you will forget about yourself. You will start focusing on the objective and what you are doing. So it's not about you, it's about others. Volunteering is the same thing. It's not about you, it's about others. So this perspective is very beneficial for your personality. For your personal growth as well, it's very good. So depending on what you are doing for volunteering, depending on what maybe you are teaching, maybe you are decorating, it depends. Because we have an event recently, I'm helping with decorations. So no matter what you are doing, it will help you with networking, discovering new people, making conversations. So there are lots and lots of benefits.
Discovering new things in yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Discovering yourself as well too. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because there are certain skills that are hidden, dormant skills, I would say. And by trying different things, by exploring your capabilities, you can discover what you can do. Talents, maybe, perhaps. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's exactly like what is volunteering though for.
That.
So, since I see that you're like connecting teaching with volunteering, so I would like to know, what do you think, like how volunteering and teaching are connected, especially in the language acquisition?
I see. So yes, exactly. So when we ask or bring the topic of volunteering and teaching, they are related, of course, because a teacher, in a way, of course, whether you are paid or not, you need to have a sense of selflessness, just like I mentioned before. You don't need to think of yourself. You need to think of the purpose of what you are trying to do. And here at the ISTU, of course, as a volunteer teacher, I learned different things, many different things. So mostly in public speaking, when I mentioned the first issue that I had back at the university, when I was being anxious at speaking, at conveying ideas, I slowly started working on that aspect of, not worrying about myself, my image too much. If I am presentable, that's enough. So that's enough. Then I can focus on the other issues, which is of course related to the presentation of the information, of making the information simple, simplifying it, gamifying the aspect of learning. So all these things are skills that you learn from volunteering. Because also at the ACO, one thing that is wonderful is that you can experiment.
Yes.
So you have a room for experimenting. You are not tied to certain guidelines of a private school or
Mhm.
or maybe a public school. It depends because there are certain guidelines. You have a syllabus. You have certain things that tie you down, so you can't experiment too much. But in ACL, you are free to try different things. So you will acquire and learn more efficiently. And by efficiently, I mean that you will learn many things in a short amount of time without spending a lot of resources because the place itself is rich of resources. It has a lot of devices that can help you. It has a lot of authentic materials, etc. So far, if I would relate, teaching with my with volunteering, this is what I would mention about it. Yeah, this experience was very enriching, I would say.
I see that's really like inspiring, and like we would like to hear more about your experience. So I would like to ask you, can you share please with us a memorable story or experience in teaching or volunteering?
Okay, perfect. So a memorable experience. When I think about that, I have lots of memories that I can recall. First, let's talk about volunteering. So there was one day where we had to organize in the main room. It was Columbus Day. So this event included a discussion. So this discussion, it was about the event about Columbus Day, and there was some sort of debate between two sides. So we had a lot of attendees at that time, and we had two opposite sides, and they were both engaging in a debate. However, I felt that the conversation was stretching into some other topics that were not really related into the topic that we were talking about. So I volunteered to sort of maybe direct the discussion, keep it under boundaries, under certain boundaries. So that's the memorable, I would say, memory that I have right now concerning volunteering.
Yes.
It was a very challenging thing to do because, as I say, I am someone who suffers from social anxiety sometimes.
Yes,
When one
public
expresses it
speaking.
exactly. So to do that, it was something I had to prove to myself.
Yes.
Let's say if I can do this. This
Mhm.
discussion is not very is going a little bit to other areas. Let's see if we can maintain it. Okay.
Yes.
So I tried that, and I think I managed to a certain degree to make it a little bit I would say under certain boundaries. Okay, keep it a little bit controlled. Okay, so that's also something I would like to mention.
Mhm.
Controlling and managing the classroom is also
Yes.
very beneficial. So about teaching, so I manage the business English classroom, so yeah,
Oh,
the
great.
sessions, and we had one attendee one day that was very shy. She was very
Mhm.
shy, and I wanted to change that and wanted to see if I could influence her somehow to maybe open up
Yes.
and break the ice and get out of her comfort zone and try different things. Because her objective was to actually improve her English.
Mm.
That's what she came to the ACO in the first place. But I noticed that whenever I would ask a question, she would
Yes.
prefer not to reply to a certain degree.
Mm.
She would prefer not to engage in the activities because we had some physical activities where we had to sit up, we had to stand
Yes.
up, sorry. So all we had to do these physical activities, and she decided not to engage with
Like
that.
she hesitates a little
She,
bit.
she was very hesitant, exactly. So throughout the session, I noticed that due to my maybe outgoing personality, and I would say because I was always moving around the
Mhm.
classroom or the session there. I was always trying to get them to talk a little bit. So I noticed certain changes in her personality because especially when she got to know other members, other attendants there, she
Yes.
became a little bit more comfortable in sharing her stories, in opening up, and she had such a good potential, such a high potential,
Mhm.
actually, because she was very knowledgeable around the topic that we were talking about. We were talking about the creation of businesses, and she was very knowledgeable
Mhm.
about that. And it was amazing. It was great having her express her ideas and conveying that. And for me too, I felt that I felt very honored to
Yes.
to to have the opportunity of maybe influencing someone, of unlocking the potential. because that's one of the pleasures, I would say, of teaching. It's seeing people discovering themselves. And for this case, I would say this is what happened for this member. She discovered new things about herself, and she became a little bit more outgoing, confident. Exactly. Yeah. So these are the two memories I would have to say concerning volunteering and teaching.
Great, great. That's actually really, really inspiring stories. I wish that like all the teachers like and all the learners like have the same experience as this and like have that impact so they can develop themselves. All right. So as we know that balancing between everyday life and learning a new language can be a little bit challenging. So how can you manage these demands and what are some practical tips that you can share?
Okay, let's see. So when it comes to language learning, I would say, of course, especially nowadays with English being the international language, it's the
Yes.
most demanded language. It's the lingua franca,
Mhm.
so of languages. So it's used everywhere. There is a lot of demand, as you mentioned, of
Yes.
learning this language for various purposes. If it's for business, purposes for work, for education, it depends.
Communication.
That's why we have ESP, which is English
Yes.
for specific purposes. We have different purposes why people decide to learn English. And we have a lot of demand as well. So the question is, you said here, how can someone learn English with these circumstances, right? With their work, so of course it depends. There is a lot of situations for people. For someone who is trying to learn English, I would say the first thing that needs to be done is that they have to manage their time. So time management, I would say, is the first skill that everyone should strive to accomplish, to know how to manage your time. It's vital for your success of achieving anything in life, whether it's learning languages or otherwise. And then we can tackle other uh, skills that we need to acquire concerning learning a language. The first and most basic things that come to mind is the vocabulary acquisition.
Mhm.
So if there is someone who knows nothing about English and they're trying to get to know English, the first thing they need to know is that they need to become familiar with the language itself. So
Yes.
acquiring
Exactly.
vocabulary, I would say it's the first step towards accomplishing that. Second thing, I would say they need to maybe get better at understanding. So perhaps I would say knowing that they have the vocabulary, maybe they can formulate sentences.
Yes.
So I would say this is the first thing that they should perhaps know how to formulate, because it's a bunch of words that are now grouped together to
Mm.
make some sense. So they are making meaning, creating meaning using the terms or the vocabulary they have acquired. Okay. So then I would say, what's the next step after knowing how to make sentences, whether it's written or spoken?
Right.
The next step I would say is for them to know how to
Practice. Yeah.
read perhaps. So reading comprehension. The next step I would say it's listening comprehension. So they would enhance their listening capabilities. They would know how to understand the conversation, especially between native speakers of different accents. That's also very important. So we have different skills that someone needs to tackle when they are trying to learn English language or any language from the start. However, recently there has been some new, I would say, rising, I guess, way of teaching that is not formal, it's informal. So when it comes to language learning, of course, we have an order of skills that we need to maintain, as I mentioned,
Mhm.
vocabulary and then already sentences, etc., and so far and so on. However, with the informal way of teaching, it's the acquisition. So it's the natural way of teaching. There
Yeah.
are certain students, especially nowadays, that they feel that if they go to university private schools, they are not getting the benefit. They are not learning the language efficiently
Yes.
and effectively too. And this probably may be due to certain limitations in the teachings, in the system of teaching the language.
Mhm.
They feel that it's best to learn a language by immersing themselves in the environment. So I would give you an example of related to the ACO.
Mhm.
When students come to the ACO, sometimes they feel that they're getting the most benefit in learning language compared to other places. However, because I'll try to explain, because the ACO, as you can see, just from the infrastructure, just from the walls that you have, just the
Yes.
decorations, it's inviting.
Mhm.
So a person who walks to the ACO, they will see the environment. It's like a different space. It's an American space. It's what it
Yes,
is
that's
exactly. It's an
really
American space.
right.
Exactly. It's like they are no longer in Nigeria.
Yeah.
The environment is very different. Everything is in English. The staff, the managers, they are all speaking in English in American accents. They have the good mastery. They have the good proficiency of the language itself. They have, if they come to the library, they have books. All of them are in English. They're all related to the American culture. So all of these elements, it allows them to immerse themselves as in they are in a different country now. They are no longer in Nigeria. They are in different
Yes.
slates. So all of this helps creating this atmosphere, this energy, helps them learn faster. Now, concerning the sessions that are organized, it's much more different than traditional way of teaching, different than universities. There's a huge focus on communication, on fostering communication and making the learners active and not passive. I will try to explain. So a passive learner is a learner who is absorbing the information and is not engaging in the conversation between with the educator or the teacher. Active learner, on the other hand, it's a back and forth. So it's a conversation. Exactly. Just like we are doing now. You're asking me a question and I'll try to reply.
Yeah.
And if you find something vague, you will ask another
Yes,
too.
exactly.
So in university, this happens. However, there is no motivation from the student to do so because the way the information is presented is different. The teacher usually organizes the information, presents the information, and then expects the student to question them. This happens. This happens only to the students that are interested. However, in the session where you have students that are not interested, because sometimes students, of course, are forced to be there. They feel that as though it's a chore to go to the university or to, depends. To make them interested, you need to create an environment of a discussion, of a conversation. The learners need to know exactly what they are getting themselves into by entering the classroom. They need to know the topic. They need to know how the topic benefits them in their daily life, how it can benefit them in the future, even if it's not, something that interests them, how it can benefit them. And then slowly discover, the teacher needs to discover the certain aspects about the learner, their weaknesses, their interests, their strengths, and then explore that. You then need to exploit that potential. So through these techniques, you can manage to create a classroom or an environment that is amazing. You can have the learners being active, you can have this back and forth, and it's very fruitful at the end. You get results that are outstanding. And these are the skills that I have learned throughout my experience at the ESU so far.
That's amazing. So I noticed that like these teaching skills or maybe these teaching strategies like depends on the demands of the everyday life challenges and also it changes from a teacher to another. So do you see that not receiving feedbacks from the learners can affect your performance in teaching?
Definitely. I believe so. Feedback is very essential for the teaching experience because feedback, whether it's mentioned directly from the students or just showcased indirectly,
Yes.
it's very important. So it's up to the teacher to allow the students to express themselves. The students, they need in the classroom, they need to be comfortable, they need to be safe, and they need to depend on you as a teacher. For that, they need to trust you. They need to understand two things. You are capable of managing them. You are capable of presenting the information because this is your specialty, whether you are teaching business, whether you are teaching civilization, whether you are teaching linguistics, it depends. Your craft, you are mastering it. So once they get this idea that this person is capable of their craft, then they will trust you. They will respect you. And then the other side of things, this is the education, this is the, I would say, the intellectual side. The other side is your ability to express yourself effectively, which means that in the session, the learners need to understand exactly what you're asking.
Yeah.
So I have an issue myself of speaking a bit too fast during the sessions. I am slowly trying to make progress of speaking slowly, but there is certain I would say there is body language. This is one aspect of it. Body language communicates sometimes more than the spoken language that we have. because just by seeing how someone behaves with the different gestures they do, the tone of their voice,
You can know, you can read them.
you can read them exactly,
Yeah.
and you can know if this person is comfortable or if this person is shy or anxious, etc. And by conveying these emotions, you can either get the people or the learners to be engaged and to listen to you, or not, or be completely disconnected from what you are mentioning. So one of the things that a person or a teacher needs to focus on is to focus on these two things: their body language and their ability to maintain or I would say, be able to present the information more effectively. So you know exactly what they are saying, what they are mentioning, what they are providing in terms of information. So I would say these are the things that
Yeah.
someone should focus on.
So you see that there are two types of feedbacks.
Oh, yes. Around that, you actually reminded me. So concerning feedback, I said it's very essential. So if you do these two things, if you maintain these two aspects that I mentioned about, the learners, they will be more comfortable in engaging with you because they know that they are not being judged. They are not, there is no risks for making mistakes.
Yes.
They are allowed to make mistakes. Exactly on the opposite. They are encouraged to make mistakes. And mistakes are being learned.
Learn, yes.
Exactly. So the teacher needs to encourage this aspect of asking questions, of creating opportunities for them to make mistakes. Make mistakes. And so it's completely fine. You are supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So this is the opportunity of feedback. It gives you this information, a lot of information around their comprehension, around their performance as well as learners. Are they understanding? Are they able to formulate the ideas, more effectively, etc.? So feedback is so essential. However, in order to receive feedback, we need to focus on these aspects.
Okay, Tarak. So away from teaching, from education, ACO, professional life, etc., what really sparks your interest, like a passion, a hobby, and how it influences to approach your tasks that you find them tedious?
Let's see. So aside from education and teaching, I would say that I am very passionate about photography. So an aspect of that, of course, I don't have a camera that is of high quality, or maybe even the phone. However, I use it as a form of meditation. So it allows me to relax a little bit, capturing certain images, still images. Sometimes it's very captivating to me. So it can be random things. Maybe sometimes it's a picture of the sky. Maybe it's a picture of animals. So I take pictures all the time. If you check my gallery, it's full of random pictures. And most of them, it's about the clouds, mostly. They make me very comfortable. So aside from that, maybe in the future, perhaps I'll get a camera, just like the ones that we are using in the podcast. It'll be very good. And I'll ask the staff to teach me how to do that.
Building you later.
Yeah, with the experience, it should be good. So aside from photography, I'm also trying to learn how to play the guitar. And it's very good because my father, he plays the guitar, and every time I ask him to teach me how to do it, he's very busy. He's busy with his tunes. So yeah. So hopefully one day I'll try to learn. Aside from that, I'm also very passionate about learning different languages. Currently, I'm trying to learn Spanish and Japanese. So I am, especially the Japanese, because I am very fascinated about the Japanese culture, about their history and the way their culture in their daily lives, they behave differently. They are very strict. They're very, I don't know. It's very captivating, honestly. Just the way they live. It's very good. And of course, the environment and the technology, all of that is very inspiring. So maybe one day, perhaps maybe I would travel there just to explore, and maybe for that reason, I want to learn the Japanese language. So far, I would say photography, becoming perhaps a musician in the future. Who knows? Despite my voice being a bit too, I don't know if it's good. And of course, learning languages. So these are my passions so far.
That's really interesting. I see that you took everything like related to art and everything like that, creativity also when it comes to photography, the way you see for example when you capture nature pictures, so that's very interesting. So can you please share with us or tell us about a capture photograph you took before and how it went, how
I see. So for photography, I would say if a memorable picture, let's see. For that, I would say one day where we were visiting my grandparents. So
Yes.
we were on the way, and I captured this picture of the highway.
Yeah.
However, it was very good in a way because it was a bit windy and
Yes.
rainy. It was raining, and I don't know how to explain it really well, but the atmosphere, the mood there, I enjoy it when
Mhm.
the atmosphere it's cloudy and it's like
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
little bit sad in a way.
Yeah.
I like it when it does that. It's very aesthetically pleasing, I would
Yes.
say. Maybe you relate to that. I don't know
Yes.
exactly, but
Yes.
yeah, I think I would say maybe that. Perhaps we will show it in the episode. Who
Oh,
knows?
that's great.
Maybe we will share the picture. Anyway, so yeah, I would say this is on the top of my head. This is the one that comes to me when it comes to pictures and capturing photos.
Okay, Tarak. So if I would add another question, it would be if you could have any photography related superpower, what would it be and why?
Okay. When we think of photography, I have this issue. Whenever I take out my phone to take a picture, I have a lot of people being curious, trying to know what you are doing,
Yes.
because especially in our society in Algeria, sometimes it's a bit unusual.
Mm-hmm.
People, it's usual for people to take selfies. However, taking pictures of just random things
Yes.
around, it's a bit unusual. So I would say maybe being invisible while doing it. So maybe you take pictures of cats or not cats, maybe take pictures of the sky or anything you want,
Sure.
of some plants if you want, without being noticed, without without adding, any attention to people. I think perhaps maybe that's one superpower I would say. Or if it's related to photography, I would say maybe
Yeah.
the ability to perhaps I don't know. Maybe let's stick with the first one. I think it's enough. It's enough.
Okay, okay. So if I would ask, what are the things that you want to learn also in the future?
Well, it's good that you mentioned that. Well, for me, I feel like I have a weakness when it comes to my online presence.
Mhm.
I have one thing, which is my professional email, and that's it. I have an Instagram account, but it's not a professional Instagram account. It's just
Yes.
an Instagram account where I post certain pictures, and it's outdated. I haven't updated it since like last year, and it's not practical, especially for someone who is trying to grow their presence online. So I would say I want to learn how to perhaps learn how to edit videos, how to create maybe perhaps tutorials
Mhm.
or these sessions that we are teaching at the ACO. Perhaps is there a way to transform this content and make it in social media, whether it's on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, or TikTok, etc. Maybe even Snapchat, perhaps if that's applicable. So
Yes.
I would like to learn how to improve my social media presence. That's my next goal, I would say, in addition to other hobbies like learning how to play the
Yes.
guitar, etc., and other languages, of course. So far, this is what I am trying to accomplish.
That's great. That's really great. We wish you good luck in that.
Thank you so much. Me too. Everyone here at the ACU is wonderful, and I would encourage anyone who is listening to this podcast to give it a try. If they haven't set their foot here in this
Mhm.
establishment, it's a wonderful place, and there are various opportunities. Whether you are a member attending sessions or you are a new member of the staff, or you would like to
Yes.
engage with us, it will be a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. So, yes, please welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tarak. If you want to add something to the audience, any tips, any advice you want to share also.
I would say perhaps as a final note, we hesitate a lot in our lives. We think too much sometimes.
Mhm.
Thinking and planning ahead is good. Before engaging in an action, it's good to know whether that action is beneficial or not. However, we should not overthink. So
Yes.
if there is something that is remotely interesting and is also healthy and beneficial, then give it a try. And
Mhm.
the same thing goes for the ACO. If you think that this opportunity engaging with us is going to be helpful, then please go ahead and do so and try to explore as many things as you can in your life. Try not to waste or try not to waste the opportunity of feeling things. Feeling
Yeah.
is very good, whether it's negative or positive. It's good. Through these experiences, we can grow ourselves and learn different things. So please go ahead and enjoy this aspect of life.
Yes. As we say, enjoy the little things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So, to close this podcast, I would like to thank Tarak for this amazing episode, for sharing his insights, amazing stories with us. And I would like to thank you, listeners, for your engagement and attention. You can always reach us on our socials Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. See you in the next episode, and thank you so much.